Thank you. I'll call this meeting to order. Could we have roll call, please?
Schultz.
Here.
DeCook.
Here.
McIntyre.
Here. Okay, are there any agenda deletions or corrections? Okay, moving on to consent agenda, item number 1 of our agenda. We have A, claims for $755,408.24. B, minutes to approve regular meeting on 8/6/2019, special meeting 8/13/2019. C, approve hire of Matthew Dersch, road maintenance, Tech 1, secondary roads, effective 9/3/2019. D, approve job classification change, Michael Hagan from equipment operator 1 to equipment operator 2, effective 8/19/19. E, approve pay increase, Kim Sheets to 73.65% of auditor's salary, effective 7/1/2019. F, approve Class C liquor license application for Parker Family Winery. G, approve abatement of mobile home taxes, title number 910113415 in the amount of $148. H, approve abatement of mobile home taxes, title number 91AC 10317 in the amount of $224. I, approve abatement of mobile home taxes, title number 910113416 in the amount of $148. J, rescind resolution 19-212 for the P25 radio communications. K, approve property use application. Should that be stricken from the consent agenda?
Yes,
Okay.
it's on the agenda later.
Okay, so we're going to address J later in the meetings, so that's stricken from the consent agenda. K, approve property use application from Indianola Dance Academy, Administration Building Gymnasium for baton lessons every Monday from 6:45 to 9:15 p.m. from 9/9/2019 to 5/23/2020. L, approve property use application from Indianola Dance Academy, Administration Building Gym Auditorium for dance recital on 5/15/20, 3:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. and 5/16/20 from 1 p.m. to 9 p.m. I take a motion to approve the consent agenda with the amendment.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion?
Schultz.
Aye.
DeCook.
Aye.
McIntyre.
Aye. Okay, number 2 of our agenda, consider speed limit change to 25 miles per hour on 43rd Avenue from Highway 28 to Harding Street with possible action.
So we received a request from a property owner out there, just some complaints about speed vehicles and things of that nature. It's currently the speed zone is currently 30 miles per hour in this location, and we think it's fair to drop it down to 25 given the density of homes in that area. So we recommend a 25 mile per hour speed zone in that location.
Any questions for our engineer?
So moved.
No, we haven't moved it yet. I just asked if there was any questions. I'm sorry.
Oh.
No?
I would move agenda item number 2.
I'll second. Any discussion?
David, did you speak with anyone other than the requesting property owner?
Just with our staff in regards to it.
And it's your opinion that that's an appropriate speed zone for that area?
We're kind of on the fence, so to speak, on it, but changing out plaques from 30 to 25 isn't a major concern to us.
Thank you.
Tracy, roll call.
Schultz.
Aye.
DeCook.
Aye.
McIntyre.
Aye. All right, moving on to item 3, consider speed limit change to 45 miles per hour on Veterans Parkway between City of West Des Moines corporate limits from I-35 East, right-of-way boundary to the east, approximately 0.75 miles with possible action.
So we met West Des Moines out on Veterans Parkway. It'll be the through road through there. And we both decided on a 45 mile per hour speed limit for that stretch of roadway. It does seem adequate because there was a 50 mile per hour design speed used on the actual project. So we recommend approval of that 45 mile per hour speed along Veterans Parkway. And we believe it was open today.
So,
But I can't confirm that because I've been running around with the tornado they had.
I would move agenda item 3.
Second.
okay, any discussion? Jason?
Scholl.
Aye.
DeCook.
Aye.
McIntyre.
Aye. Okay, item 4, consider stop sign placement on 20th Avenue at Veterans Parkway on the north and south side with possible action.
Again, this is to make Veterans Parkway the through street, so they'll be placing or have already placed stop signs on 20th to stop traffic before getting to Veterans Parkway.
Move to approve item number 4.
Second.
Any discussion?
Scholl.
Aye.
DeCook.
Aye.
McIntyre.
Aye. All right, item 5, consider agreement to purchase right-of-way for project number LFM-R63, parentheses, SN, parentheses, -7X-91 with possible action.
And this is the right-of-way the county desires to purchase to accommodate construction of the landside repair on County Highway R63 just north of Highway 92. So we recommend approval of the right-of-way acquisition to be able to let the project.
Okay, I'd accept a motion.
I would move agenda item 5.
Second.
Any further discussion? Tracy?
Scholl.
Aye.
DeCook.
Aye.
McIntyre.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, item 6. Consider award of contract for P25 radio communications site development with possible action.
So at the meeting on August 13th, the board approved a resolution, but our resolution was not quite complete enough. I'd like you to consider rescinding Resolution 19-212 and consider the following resolution in its place. Be it resolved that Warren County, by the Warren County Board of Supervisors, hereby awards the contract for the P25 radio communications site development to Motorola based on a recommendation from Omnicom for a request for proposals. Remember that before you can consider that particular resolution, you have to rescind the other one, please.
I would move to rescind resolution 19-212 approved at the meeting on August 13th, 2019.
Second.
And then we'll make a motion that Warren County award the contract.
Wait, we have to-
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Whatever we got.
Scholl.
I'm sorry, any
Sorry.
discussion? Okay,
Scholl.
Aye.
DeCook.
Aye.
McIntyre.
aye. Okay.
Chairwoman, I'm just eager to fix a correction from that August 13th motion. Our attorney for the county tells me and Doug and everyone else to make proper motions and to do it right, and when you don't, then you come back a meeting later and have to fix it. So I'm just trying to right or wrong here. But at this point, I would now like to move that Warren County award the contract for the P25 radio communication site development to Motorola based on a recommendation from Omnicom from request for proposals.
Okay, second. Any discussion?
Do we have a second?
Yes, I seconded. Any discussion?
Scholl.
No.
DeCook.
Aye.
McIntyre.
Aye. Okay, we Moving on to item 7, consider law enforcement center and courthouse completion certificate with Vanderpool Construction Incorporated with possible action. Okay, did we have Kurt here to address that? Well, it was in our packet.
I would move agenda item 7.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, seeing none?
Schultz,
Aye.
DeCoche,
Aye.
McIntyre,
Aye. Okay, item 8, consider retainage release to D.W. Zwinger Company Incorporated to be paid after 31 days with possible action.
I would move agenda item 8.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay.
Schultz,
Aye.
DeCoche,
Aye.
McIntyre,
Aye. Okay, item number 9, consider a retainage release to ECCO Midwest to be paid 31 days, after 31 days, with possible action.
I would move agenda item 9.
Second.
For any discussion?
Schultz,
Aye.
DeCoche,
Aye.
McIntyre,
Aye. Okay, item 10, receive and file reports. We have A, the recorder, B, veteran affairs, C, general assistance, and D, humane society. Are there any questions for those reports? I'd consider a motion to receive and file.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Schultz,
Aye.
DeCoche,
Aye.
McIntyre,
Aye. Okay, item 11, supervisor's report. I'll start with Supervisor DeCook.
Attended special meeting, closed meeting, her meeting, 100-minute Norwalk meeting, planning and zoning and Norwalk meeting, and had multiple communications regarding the Justice Center and dealing with constituent matter.
Supervisor Schultz.
As Supervisor Cook indicated, we've had several meetings concerning the Justice Center, and I had a meeting last night with the city of Indianola. That would be my report.
Okay, thank you. Okay, my report, since our last board meeting, attended the Iowa State 911 Communication Council, the ISIC board meeting, met with the users for the Justice Center, and ISIC's Region 1 meeting, and a Conservation Board meeting, met with many citizens as Supervisor DeCook, and emails and phone calls for the Warren County Courthouse and Jail, and met with a board member of the Fair Chance Hiring Board. And that's my report. Okay, item 12, discussion of Junior Edwards Memorial Placement with possible action.
I think that the Veterans Group, he's president of, pardon? Yes. The president of the Veterans Group was going to be here tonight, but he can't be here because I think he had damage. He lives down south, and this morning we had some high winds, maybe a tornado, I'm not sure, so he couldn't be here. But they're interested in putting something in the new Justice Center building, probably in the entryway. Junior Edwards, I think, was he got an award for his service in, I think it was World War II. And he's the only person to receive this award from Warren County, so. I know we met with the veterans at their location, so I guess I'd make a motion that we allow them to set up a memorial for Junior Edwards with the think we call it the design group, for the new Justice Center, that it would need to be approved by them. That group.
I'll second that motion.
Any further discussion?
I think it's maybe illuminative to note that the Veterans Group are paying for the memorial as well, so that's not a direct cost to the taxpayers. It's something that the veterans feel strongly about and are contributing to financially. And so I guess I would, I'm not going to change the motion, but in the event that they wanted to or desired to place something in the administrative building prior to it going into the Justice Center, I would certainly be fine with that. They might need to come to the board for that if they had to, and I would certainly be supportive of that as well.
That's beautiful. Tracy?
Scholl,
Aye.
DeCook,
Aye.
McIntyre.
Aye. Okay,
Can I interrupt for just a minute? I'm sorry. Doug, your mic is not picking up.
Okay.
I don't know if it's, is that better?
Probably didn't have.
There you go. Thank you.
I thought I did.
all right, item 13, discussion of Justice Center construction fencing with possible action. And we received a I'm sorry. This would be a quote from Commercial Proposal. I'm glad to speak to them. I didn't know you were here, sorry.
That's okay. What I have here is Megan put together something on the Justice Center construction site, and it has two items on it. One of them is the fencing, and the other one is the job trailer removal. So to go through it real quick, due to the delay of construction, a plan must be established for the maintenance on the square. And the property has been seeded due to the DNR requirements. So of course, that's not going to be lush turf grass, it's just going to be grass to hold the dirt in place. So, job trail removal, we pay approximately $500 a month on the rental of that. No additional charge to pick up, as that fee has already been paid. And then the company would estimate about 2 weeks before they could move it, if you guys so choose to approve that. And then the construction fencing, they have a request, but not yet received quote from the fencing company. I guess we do have a quote now. So the lump sum there would be a little over $2,300 to have it just moved to the curb. For it to be like I believe it's, well, all sides but the west side, it looks like. And then no cost if they remove it completely. But we really can't do that. I'm assuming we already have that cost already when they put it up. It was all one lump sum. But I don't really feel we could remove it completely with the hole being there. So, or we could leave it. So we can leave it, move it back to the curb, or past the curb just a little bit, or remove it completely. That's basically what's on.
Kirk, you're asking for two things? I understand the fencing.
Basically two things, yes.
Run that first one by me again.
Removal of the job trailer that's sitting out there. We pay approximately $500 a month.
Yeah.
What was the expense to remove the job trailer or nothing?
We already paid that, so it's no additional cost.
Okay, so I would take a motion to do both of these things in this motion, since the quote is for both things.
I would move that we move the fence back to the curb and remove the job trailer. Is that what we call it?
So, do I have a second?
Yeah, I'm absolutely fine with the trailer removal. I'm not second guessing the quote. It just seems awfully high to move it a few feet. Yeah, I'll second.
We have a second. Any further discussion?
Scholl,
Aye.
DeCook,
Aye.
McIntyre.
Aye. All right, moving on. Item 14, rescind resolution 19-22 with possible action.
I'll make that motion, but prior to doing so, I did want to make a comment regarding our August 13th, 2019 meeting. And so I worked on some remarks and I'll read them now. On August 13, 2019, during the Board of Supervisors meeting, comments were made regarding Shive Hatterley as architect and DCI as construction manager and their work for Warren County. Those remarks were insensitive, unbecoming, and not reflective of my opinions regarding their respective roles in the Warren County Justice Center project. By not speaking up, it could appear that I was in agreement with those statements. I am not, and I am taking this opportunity to clarify that record. Those remarks were not the consensus of the Board of Supervisors. We hope to continue our professional relationship with both Shive Hatterley and DCI.
I would also like to make a brief comment that I agree with Supervisor DeCook's statement, and the board appreciates the work that Shive Hatterley and DCI have done for the county.
Regarding agenda item 14, I move that resolution 19-22 approved by the Board of Supervisors on January 15th, 2019 be rescinded.
And I would second that motion.
Any further discussion? Okay, Tracy?
Schultz,
Aye.
DeCook,
Aye.
McIntyre.
Aye. Okay, our part of that, moving on to 15, the second part of this would be consider designate representative supervisor with respect to the Warren County Justice Center with possible action.
And I would move that Warren County Board of Supervisors hereby approve Supervisor Aaron DeCook as the representative authorized to act on behalf of Warren County Board of Supervisors and Warren County. With respect to the project, the Warren County Justice Center, the representative shall render decisions and approve the architect's submittals in a timely manner in order to avoid unreasonable delay in the orderly and sequential progress of the architect's services. I further move that the representative be authorized to act on behalf of Warren County Board of Supervisors to render decisions with regard to the Warren County Justice Center and approve the construction manager's submittals in a timely manner in order to avoid unreasonable delay in the orderly and sequential progress of the construction manager's services.
Second motion.
Any discussion? Okay, well, during the Board of Supervisors meeting on August 13, 2019, I made statements about Shive Hatterley and DCI Group. I apologize for the potentially harmful remarks about their work of the Warren County Justice Center. I also made remarks on social media. My words and statements were poorly chosen and spoken without considering how they would reflect on Warren County. Further reflection has allowed me to see how those statements have wounded others, particularly those who have worked so hard on this project. After speaking against the bond last year for the courthouse and jail, based on budget, location, and size, then after the bond, I became a supporter. That perplexes some. Our citizens spoke by their vote, and I'm accountable to them. I feel being an effective supervisor calls for humility in accepting things as they are in the present form. Unity on our board has also been a priority for me. With the board rejecting the design and bids, the Justice Center will need to go in a different direction. I believe that the county can be served better by having another supervisor serve as the board representative to the design committee.
Schultz,
Aye.
DeCook,
Aye.
McIntyre.
Aye.
The Board of Supervisors will have a work session this Friday, August 23, at a time yet to be determined to discuss options open to the board based on the contract. We will certainly post that well in advance.
Okay, moving on. Item 16, presentation of city square improvement. Now, I was told that this gentleman couldn't make it because of personal, but there may be some in the audience that were here to represent that, so we're giving them their time. Okay, if no one, then I'm moving on to item 17, discussion of Justice Center location. Well, it seems that that needs to be the next thing if we're still going on the square. So do we as a board have any thoughts or your personal thoughts on it?
Is that what we're gonna do on Friday? Is that what you just,
We're gonna have a work session on Friday. So it's where we group.
involve, and it involves the Justice Center? Yeah.
Sure, I'll add my comments regarding location, and that is, I think it's a little premature at this point. You know, the reality is that when the square location was decided, it was for a variety of reasons. It was because a consensus needed to happen to get the bond passed. And so I don't take that lightly that nearly 70% of the people who voted in that referendum specified a location. And I think that it is a little premature at this point to look at other locations. Now, that being said, I want everyone here and everyone who's watching to really understand something that not only I think, but I never ever try to speak for someone else, but I think both of these two do as well. This project has certainly hit some roadblocks and some real obstacles. I think that's evident by the bids coming in high and substantially high. And so we're going to have some real challenges going forward. I mean, one of the obvious solutions is to scale down the size and scope of the building, keep the location. And that's a discussion that we need to have with the users, because what I can't do in good conscience is to have a $30+ million oopsies on the table. I'm not putting my name on that. And so if it's not functional from day one, that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense to spend that sort of money and not have a building that's going to serve our needs right out of the chute, as well as 5 years from now, as well as 10 or even 20 years from now before expansion needs to occur. I don't think, in my mind, that's the best thing to do for the taxpayers. And so that's option one. Option two gets a little, we're getting out to the weeds a little bit on options 2 and 3 and continuing on. That would be looking at location, looking at going back to the voters, which that's not going to be an easy task to do. And so prior to really getting into those things, we need to get back to work on what we can do with what we have and what we can get realistically with the monies that have been entrusted to us. And then we need to make that decision. And so I think it's a little premature at this point to get into a discussion on the location. That said, the bond referendum, just so everyone's aware of this, it did specify a location. And so for those people that are here or watching that are concerned and in love with the current location, be rest assured or be assured that the only way that the location changes is with a 1 or 2 question referendum by the people. So if people want it changed, you'll have the opportunity to vote for that in the event that we go down that path. So I don't know, I guess my discussion is I think we're a little early. I'm very cognizant that an overwhelming majority of people raised their hand or voted yes for a levy rate increase or a debt service increase, to put it there. And so I think we need to explore that option and find out what exactly we can build on that location first. And so that's where we're going to start.
Any other comments? Discussion? right? I had put that on the agenda because I've received a lot of phone calls and emails concerning that, so just wanted you guys to be aware of where we are. Okay, next item on the agenda is 18, public input. It's your turn. We answered your questions so well. That's good.
I always come here planning to not say anything. I'm Michelle Steen. I have a business on the square, and that has nothing at all to do with my concern about the location of the courthouse and jail. I am very concerned that there will not be space for the departments. They have to, in order to function well, and for the county's safety and everything, have to have what they need. There's also been concern, a lot of the, and I'm just saying this because I've heard it, that a lot of the businesses around the square were concerned about the courthouse and jail not being there anymore. But what I see is a very functional, flourishing square, you know, without anything in the center right now. There's new businesses coming. I see some of the restaurants doing well, and personally, my business is not doing well because we've been moving and stuff is going in and out, and I can't be open. So I think from the first time, from the very time that the vote was yes for this bond issue, it was immediately different than what was voted for, as far as parking and, you know, underground parking, that kind of thing. So I just want to say, and I don't know, I've even been accused of not being willing to have change. Well, moving the courthouse off the square is quite a lot of change. That's a very drastic change, I think. So I'm not being, not holding on to that memory of having the building there. So anyway, thanks.
Thank you.
Susan Glick, I live at 511 West Boston in Indiana. I voted for the bond issue because we needed to do something. It wasn't my first choice. I would have much rather seen it go somewhere else, but it didn't seem like the city of Indiana was allowing that to happen. If things have changed and that maybe could happen, I think you ought to look into it, and I encourage you to do so. And there may be many people who voted for it, I know of some, who really would have rather seen it be somewhere else than something else in Young Square. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. We're voting to the 7 South Kendall Boulevard. I'm curious, and I don't know if this will be in a time where you don't answer questions like you were at the last board meeting, but I'm just curious the difference between what we voted on at the time of the bond and what we're looking at currently. And I know we've talked about underground parking being different. I think we all had an understanding that there would originally be a possibility for things to go up, and then all of a sudden they need to go out, and then to go out, it had to get smaller, and then everything was space. And as a resident, I kind of feel like what we voted on is just substantially changed. The entire viewpoint to me has changed. I'm kind of the same as Susan. I feel like it didn't feel like there was a consensus about where this building was even going to go. And I think we were all holding on to the fact that the courthouse has just always been the courthouse. You know, it's where it's been located for so long. But now it's gone. And like Michelle said, it's still functioning. And so if we can move this off the square and possibly make the front side the pretty side and the back side less pretty, and, you know, reduce our costs and still accommodate everybody inside the building, I think that that's a very valid thing to look at regardless of what the vote was. I think we all needed to do something, and I don't think as residents we're going to tell you not to do anything. So I don't think there's any fear going back to the public and asking us what we like at this point. I think that we are Indianola, so and we should go back to the voters. That's my opinion. Thank you. And this is a public input. It's not a public hearing, so we cannot converse back. But we can take this up at another board meeting if we so choose. So.
Douglas Rooney, 14586 Scotch Ridge Road, Carlisle. I was taken by surprise because I actually am working with Emma Conrad, the gentleman that was going to present the design this evening. However, I wasn't prepared to do so myself, but I would like to say that part of the goal and what we're trying to achieve is to bring back some of the feel to the square that you get in the courthouse squares. In your typical county seat in Iowa, you drive into the center and there's beautiful elaborate building with the park around it. Unfortunately, this design over time has become a giant chunk of rock with parking lots around it. It's not a beautiful square in the center of town. So if we have the option to move it to another site where it can function better and we could potentially create a vibrant central type park in the center of town with some additional commercial spaces that could have restaurants or cafes, marketplace for antique fairs, farmers market, etc. Perhaps an outdoor amphitheater and stage, just venues that would allow Indianola to sponsor events and bring life downtown, bring fairs downtown, and really make it a people space again. So I hope we get the opportunity in the future to present those ideas. I did vote for the bond measure, but I have come to the conclusion that I think the courthouse might be better elsewhere.
Now, you said we in your statements. Are you representing a group or?
I actually am a landscape architect. Emma Conrad is an engineer, and we were approaching this together. He lives in Indianola and is very involved in the community, and we were kind of working on it together as a design team to come up with ideas.
All right, thank you. Any others?
For the record, my name is Troy Bass, 406 East 14th Place here in Indianola. I've been a resident for 50 years here. I'm older than that, obviously. I'm also a county emergency manager, one of the users for the building. We started out with 80,000 square feet, 100,000 square feet, and it was taking up most of the square. But then when we come out with the referendum, we ended up with going down to 73,000 feet. If we keep crunching numbers to put it on the square, I think we're not going to have a functional building without having to build on in 5 years, whether that's the jail, the courts, or whatever is going to be in the building. So my opinion to you folks is to look at different resources to get it off the square and still keep it all together, because I think it's a functional building. Looking at it as a county function as well as maybe sharing with the city, and doing the justice center with law enforcement maybe. I think we can look at our options, and I like the idea of putting a what do you call it, a stage or whatever on the square to host different functions on the square. I was saddened myself to see all the mature trees be taken out, but we knew with the building that we had, they had to go. Now we have a hole in the ground, so now we need to decide what to do. I understand that, and I understand we're at a bond referendum. I wouldn't be opposed as a citizen to think about going back to the citizens and re-vote on the situation instead of building to a 29.9 or 30 or however you're going to call it. Let's build it that it's a functional building that we don't have to move or expand in 5 to 10, 20 years. I think that's just crazy on taxpayers' money. And excuse me for being dirty, but I've been up since 5 o'clock dealing with the tornadoes.
I believe it.
But anyway, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Diane Hall, I'm the mayor in Milo, 220 Northwest Street, Milo, Iowa. And my opinion of well, kind of sounds like a lot of people feel this way as well, that it would be a disservice to taxpayers to spend money on something that is not going to have longevity of what we need, because we will always need a justice center. So please consider all of our options.
Thank you.
We always start this so slow and then no one wants to be the first.
Hi, I'm Tina Rose, number 14798 92nd Lane in Warren County, White Oak Township. I've served on this committee when it originally started. I just want to remind the supervisors that this vote was less than 10% of the registered voters in the county. So expecting 70% of 8% to mean anything is nothing. So all of us who finally understood that there's really a trouble because it's gotten decent publicity and we know what's going on, we would support you if you chose to take it back to the people and present us with a solution that will last until our grandchildren, rather than a solution that will last until my bread goes moldy. So please take into consideration that you didn't have all of Warren County speak to you at the last referendum. You had about 2,500 people make a decision for 35,000 people. So please take that in deep consideration and do something that will last for our grandchildren and their children, not just for my moldy bread.
And I believe the number is 5,800 people. All right. Seeing and hearing no one else. Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine.
Didn't see you pop up.
Hiding in the back.
Okay.
I'm Justin Peterson at 10206 Highway 92. First of all, I'd like to applaud you with your last vote at the last meeting to sit back and take a look and reconvene and to reconsider. I echo everybody else's thoughts here this evening as well. I think it would be better served to take it in a different location other than the square. And to consider that. I've been a resident here, I think, going on 18 years, and the square has always been used as a multi-venue location and kind of been an unwelcoming design the way that it was prior. We use it for bike nights and other events, and I think that the square can be revitalized in a way that can bring more traffic of people that would be more than willing to spend their money for the businesses that are around the square. I also think that, I kind of lost my train of thought there, I apologize, but there's an option too. The city owns all the ground around it. Sell the ground back to the city, let them deal with the square, use that funding for someplace else outside of the city limits. You're looking at all options. That's an option. I'm representing another individual that called me on his behalf and asked me to speak up for him as well. The YMCA has their hands out for money, so they're obviously running a business that is not self-sustaining. There's an option there to revamp that and use that for county services, so.
That's a city of Indianola, it's not a county.
Okay, I'm just representing what I've been, that good, I told him I would bring it up on his behalf, so. That's all I have, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, moving on to item 19, which is our next meeting date. It's a morning meeting. It's September 3rd, 2019 at 9:30 a.m. Now we take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Schultz,
Aye.
McCook,